In the warm, sunny meadow, where flowers danced in the gentle breeze, lived a little ladybug named Lila. Lila had the most beautiful, shiny red shell with 7 perfect black spots. Her favorite place in the whole wide world was a big, bright red flower that bloomed right in the middle of the field. This flower was her special playground. Every morning, Lila would fly to her flower, land softly on its velvety petals, and begin her favorite game. She loved to roll the tiny, golden grains of pollen, pushing them around like little soccer balls. One morning, as she was happily rolling a particularly large pollen grain, she heard a tiny voice. "Hello, Lila," it called. Lila looked up and saw her friend, a fuzzy green caterpillar named Carl, peeking over the edge of a leaf. Carl was very small and wiggled his way slowly everywhere he went. He watched Lila with big, curious eyes as she zipped around the flower with her pollen ball. "That looks like so much fun," Carl said, his voice full of excitement. "Can I come and play with you?" Lila stopped her game. She looked at her precious pollen grains scattered across the flower. She had just enough for herself, she thought. If Carl came to play, would there be enough for both of them? What if he was clumsy and knocked them all off the flower? A little worry started to bubble inside her. She held her pollen grain tightly and hesitated. "I don't know, Carl," she said quietly. "This is my special flower, and I don't have very much pollen to share." Carl's cheerful smile faded a little. "Oh," he said, looking down at his tiny feet. "That's okay. I'll just watch from here." He looked so disappointed that Lila's heart felt a little pinch. She looked at her pollen, then at her friend's sad face. Was it really more fun to play all by herself? She remembered how she and Carl had laughed together just yesterday while racing up a dandelion stem. Playing with a friend was always more fun than playing alone. A warm feeling spread through Lila's chest, chasing away the worry. She smiled a big, ladybug smile. "Actually, Carl," she called out, "I've changed my mind. Come on up. There's plenty of room and plenty of pollen for both of us." Carl's face lit up instantly. He wiggled his way excitedly onto the big red flower. Lila gently rolled a golden pollen grain over to him. "Here you go," she said. Carl carefully nudged the pollen grain with his nose. It wobbled and then rolled away. He giggled and wiggled after it. Lila laughed too, and soon they were both chasing and rolling pollen grains all over the flower. They made up a new game where they tried to roll their pollen grains into the center of the flower at the same time. They laughed so hard that Lila almost rolled right off a petal. It was much more fun than playing alone. Their happy laughter floated through the meadow air like sweet music. Soon, a busy honeybee named Betty buzzed by. My, what a fun game you two are playing," she buzzed, hovering above them. "Is there room for one more?" Before Lila could even think about hesitating, she chirped, "Of course, Betty, the more, the merrier. Come and join us." Betty landed gracefully on the flower, and Lila rolled a pollen grain her way. A moment later, a handsome grasshopper with long, springy legs, named Gus, hopped over. "What's all the commotion?" he chirped. "Looks like a party." Carl, feeling brave and happy, called out, "It is, and you're invited, Gus." Gus did a joyful leap onto the flower, being careful not to squish anyone. Lila found the biggest pollen grain and pushed it toward him. Soon, The big red flower was filled with friends. Lila, Carl, Betty, and Gus were all playing together. They bumped pollen grains, told funny jokes, and filled the air with cheerful sounds. Lila looked around at all her friends laughing and playing on her flower. Her heart felt so full and happy, it felt like it might just pop. She had started the day thinking she only had enough pollen for herself, but now she realized she had enough fun for everyone. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the friends said their goodbyes. That was the best day ever, Lila, said Carl as he wiggled back to his leaf. Thanks for sharing your flower, Betty buzzed, and Gus chirped his thanks too. Lila waved to them all, her shiny red shell glowing in the evening light. She sat on her flower, surrounded by the slightly messy but very well-loved pollen grains. She had learned a very important lesson. Sharing didn't mean you had less for yourself. It meant you had more joy, more laughter, and more friends to share it with. And that made everything so much better. Sharing makes playtime happier, just like Lila the ladybug learned today.